All right, so now I'm going to show you step by step my process. Once I have my series of image curated to enhance it with Magnify AI, fixing all of the details that I don't really like and I want to change, and all the way to actually animate each of the clip with Layapix. I'm not going to be able to show you from the laptop how I do the final editing because usually I do that directly on the Instagram application, or I use CapCut, which is like another tool. It's very easy and simple. I will do a video where I explain the process, but I haven't found like an easy way to kind of like sharing what I'm doing on my phone and making it interesting for you guys. So let me put this aside. But then quickly here, like I explained, once I have the image I like, this is like a couple of images I generated recently. I wanted to have like more of a vibe of like a similar samurai. I really like the kind of like a dark navy vibe. I wanted to have like different movement because I envision already how I'm going to be able to like combine all these short clip together to create a very interesting effect. And so, like I explained before, I usually do my curation. I'm generating way more images than that on Midjourney, but then this is kind of like my short select. Then I upscale to kind of like get a sense about like the images I'm going to be able to use. And I know that for making like a 6-7 seconds reel, so something very cut, very dynamic, and you can use some of my template as well, or the sound I use for my reel. I know that in total I'm going to need 7 to like 8 images. So that's very interesting. Working this way allow me to be like very efficient because I know that by the end of the day I don't want to like spend too much time like editing like 15 or 20 different images because I'm only going to be able to use a certain amount of images. So I upscale all of them, as you can see here, and then I put it down to like 8. I'm doing 8 because it's always good to have like a one bonus image just in case. They are not in the final order yet, but it just like, I think, okay, they works like pretty well together. I can imagine like the dynamic, and usually it's like very important to having like a wow effect like pretty early on in the video, and just like some like diversity in the edit. So I'm like basically doing like a simple storyboard already, just to like have an idea about like how these like different things will look together. And so I want kind of like having like a dramatic shot like pretty early on. So like I can do something like this, and it is like basically like a super like simple storyboard, step by step. I think these two, they kind of like look very similar, so I can use it as like a backup, for example. But then I have kind of like what I wanted to achieve here, pretty much. I might need to kind of like refine the ratio and the cropping and stuff like that. But for now, I think that's good. And then so I'm gonna take all of this. I'm using Figma. You don't have to use Figma. Like you can use Photoshop. You can use any other tool. I just really like the way I can like organize everything within Figma. And then I'm gonna export all of these. So like you can export in PNG or in JPEG. JPEG are usually less heavy file. And so I'm just gonna put it in my download. And now we're gonna go back to Magnify first. So I'm gonna use Magnify. One thing, like I explained before, you need to like drag and drop like one by one the images, so that's a little bit annoying. But then what you can do is like you put your first image. We do by 2. Doesn't really need for Instagram to do more than that because you would have to reduce the file anyway. So like by 2 will be enough to have a very good resolution. And then film and photography are like the setting I use. And so I start the upscaling process. And while you're doing that, now that I have my setting in place, and I know pretty much like what I want, just like need to like drag and drop. And I can't wait for them to release a feature where you can just like drag and drop all your images at once. Oops, you don't want to do that. So you drag and drop the image. Gonna take a couple of seconds or a minute to do it. So like starting the GPU, generating all the image, and normally when they're gonna be generated, it's gonna be pretty fast. So like I can already kind of like take a look at like what the upscaling looks like on this type of image, because it's so black on black type of render. You don't see like a huge difference, but there is still like an effect on like on the skin, making like the content more sharper, yes, I believe, and the reflection better. So I can already check. Usually I check quickly what's like the things looks like, so I can easily edit. You can see there is a little bit of dust here and there. I think like this kind of like cord going there is just like a weird. Same thing here. So I'm already taking a look at like what's going to be important. But I also keep in mind that a lot of the content will be consumed on a smartphone. Not everyone has an iPhone Pro Max. So like there is a lot of stuff that like you don't really have to worry too much about it. Like just like clean up whatever you feel is good and important. And then of course, if you're working on like a large scale campaign or like out of home and you need to print, then like more details will be visible. But then I'm gonna just like hit the download button here. It's like automatically downloading the asset. You know, I can see here there's like a little bit of like weird stuff. Like I don't know why the air are like coming up here. So we're gonna try to like fix all of this with Adobe Photoshop. So I downloaded all the image here. Always like take a quick look. Gonna finish all the image here. I really like this one. Super cinematic pose and movement. And then it's really like how crazy you want to go. Like here, this is kind of like weird that like his like entire face is covered, but this is because I'm showing you, and we are like super zoom in on my screen, because the truth is like if this is displayed like 1 second in a video, like no one will be able to see that there is like something weird within the mask. This one is awesome too. Some like little imperfection that we're gonna address here. And you see here, when you upscale, sometimes it's create this like weird like artifact on the background. So you can fix it with Photoshop AI, or you can fix it with just like traditional Photoshop stamp and other feature. Here we go. So I downloaded all my content. And now we're gonna put it back into Figma and decide the one we want to actually edit. So I'm gonna go here. I'm just gonna create like a quick folder. We're gonna call it Black Shogun. Okay, here we go. Oops, sorry. And Magnifique always will create like a bigger files, and we'll add like Magnifique at the beginning of the title of your file. I usually organize better my stuff. I just want to like go fast in showing you like all the different steps. But here, as you can see, like I can like take a look quickly of the one I want to fix. I'm gonna use Photoshop, and then here we go. So similar as like what I showed you in the previous example, I'm just gonna identify the stuff I want to like fix and remove, and I'm just gonna like quickly select like the little detail, just like little imperfection. Between you and me, it's so uncomfortable to knowing that you know, sometimes I do weird faces and stuff when I'm working, and so I know you guys are watching. So I'm trying to make it as entertaining as possible, but by the end of the day, just me doing little editing, less of the magic here, but important stuff. So like I have this here, I'm gonna generate the fill, I'm gonna remove. Pretty cool, pretty clean. some like little stuff again will not be visible, but like you can always like walk around, like take all the details. It's pretty cool. The end looks so solid. We have the thing here, and like I say, I think it's kind of like weird having this like cord that go from like the helmet. So I'm gonna select the entire piece, even here. And so cleaning up just to having something that makes more sense. So like remove. And this is magical. So I can remove this one as well. All right, so we have like a good enough cleanup samurai. I would like maybe try to like fix this, because like sometimes you know, like the way you create like object and everything are like a little bit weird. Everything is super clean, so we can try to see what's Photoshop will be able to do for that. It's really not going to be the thing the most visible in the video anyway, but it's just to like show you that sometimes when there is like more material and element, it will not just like remove it entirely, or in this case it did, but like you have like the first attempt. And so let's try to see if we want to like remove entirely this like gold element. You can always go back. And if you have skills in Photoshop, you can always do, you know, spend time editing, like adding the ring, doing some like layering and all the stuff that you want to do. Here we go. Just like showing you like different option. Can it like generate one more time? So this is super easy, straightforward, very helpful when you're like working on the content. You can see like more, and then like I showed you before, you can always like go back in like how it was before. I think actually it works better with the things, and for the purpose of this video, I don't want to spend you know, like too much time doing editing here, but you get it. All right, so we have this one ready. Just gonna hit save. We're gonna do a second one quickly. I'm just gonna name it so we don't forget. Actually, not gonna like do the entire series. I will share it with you when it's ready. But yeah, let's do this one. So let's take a look what we have here. And one thing that you could do is like also cut out like this element if you really want to have like the same type of artifact on all the samurai. So you can like cut it out and using it for your like past it, and then doing the blending like I showed you in the previous video. That works very well. In this case, we just want to maybe try to remove this stuff. Looks like a broken Batman sign. Here, this is like way cleaner and cool, so it just like sometimes Midjourney can create a weird artifact within the image. So here we go. We have like different version. It's like looking back. I think this is better. We have a little detail here that we want to remove. And then for this one, I like the pose of like the samurai. I'm not sure about like him holding the katana this way, but he has it here. And so I think I'm just gonna like remove this, like try to remove this piece. So we have this like a samurai, but without having like the weird blade coming it So I'm gonna select this part. I'm gonna remove this as well. Here we go. That's it, another one. This one is pretty cool. Again, a lot of things I'm showing you right now, like no one will be able to tell when it's like in a video and it's like moving pretty fast. So you just like need to decide like how details you want to go and like how crazy you want to go with like the editing and post-production. But this works like pretty well in my opinion. We have something cool here. I'm just gonna like save it like the other one quickly, and so I basically repeat this process for like as many images I have. Do some like editing if I want to, like, you know, zoom in, crop, like doing all these different things, and then when this part is ready, now I'm gonna go. So just so I don't forget, but I shouldn't. I'm gonna go in Leia Pix. I'm gonna drag and drop the image here. And so here by default, you're going to use a perspective one. I kind of like know the effects I want to achieve. So like for something like this with like this movement and this composition, usually go for like this like horizontal effect. I like the direction, but I'm going to remove the loop. I'm going to hit reverse, so it's kind of like more revealing of the samurai. Then amount of motion, like I usually like test. The more motion, the more zoom in you're going to be in the image. So you need to be like mindful with that. Doesn't create like crazy deformation, but maybe 50% for this one will be enough. And then the length of the video. But I think because I'm doing super like fast and cut editing, if it's too slow, people don't even realize that this is moving. So like here is probably like a good compromise. And then when I'm editing in Instagram, I decide if I want to be like more at the end of the section or at the beginning. But that's giving me like a cool outcome already. Export, 4K, export. Similar than Magnify, I cannot wait for them to release a capability when you can like batch process images. But at the same time, with Magnify, you know pretty much that you want to like enhance and upscale your image. Here with Leia, or when I'm going to show you Runway or Crea, I mean, depending on the image, the video will be different. So you also want to being able to like explore what you're doing. And so now that I'm good here, I'm going to do the second video. And so this is pretty much my process when I'm working on a reel. So like, of course, most of the time is spent on like the Midjourney side of things, generating the images for the series from like the concept I have. Then I want to select the images, do a first round of upscaling. Then I'm curating quickly within Figma, building up my storyboard to have like an idea about like what the video will look like. Then I export all of this, go into Magnify, do some enhancement and upscaling, work with the setting and decide what I want to achieve depending of the type of image I'm using. Then I'm exporting all of this, doing some editing and fixing with Adobe Photoshop, and then putting all of this in Leia Pix, generating the video, exporting the video, putting everything on my phone, going into the Instagram editing tool. That can be very buggy at the time, but it seems that it's producing like more high resolution outcomes. So that's why I'm using mostly that. But like I say, can use also CapCut, depending of like the editing I want to do. We'll do a video specifically on like sharing with you all my tips and tricks about creating like the right content, picking up the right music, you know, like how many times you need to post, like all these different stuff. But this is for like another video. And so for this one, you know, like we can do like a zoom effect. So as you can see here, like the zoom obviously is like a little bit crazy. We're going to fix that. But also it kind of like getting on the chest. So it's like kind of like making this like weird deformation. But then here we have like the zoom center, which is interesting because like the camera is like going in and then up at the same time. And like I said, in the end, I'm going to use only like 1 or 2 seconds. So I don't care that in the end we have this like weird deformation, but I kind of like this movement, and we can just like get a sense of like what it will look like. It's like if it's the other way around, but I think the deformation is too much. So we're going to keep it this way. Amount of motion, 40% is good. Animation length, 10 seconds. Maybe we go like 8 seconds, just like to making it a little bit more quicker. Like again, I'm introducing here is the first couple of seconds when the camera coming in and the point of focus is the eyes of the character. But then if you want to like being sure that in the end you don't have this like weird deformation effect, you can reduce the position of like the Z point in the end. So it render automatically like the change that you're doing. So like getting into like the end of the video, I think we have something like interesting that gonna works well. So I hit export, 8 seconds. When I'm in the editing phase, I'm probably gonna use only like 2 or 3 seconds maximum. But I'm trying to really optimize my workflow and don't spend too much time here and there, because I know I'm gonna cut out anyway, like the end of the video. So I'm focusing on like being sure that the first couple of seconds of the video are like what I want, but sometimes it's the other way around, right? So like if I was doing like more of like a zoom out, I might have like a weird deformed effect at the beginning, but if I want like the end of the video to be good, like that can work both ways. And then I render that, check for the quality if like everything makes sense, and then I start to working on the editing. And here with Leia Pix again, I'm just gonna like move the 2 first video here, and then you can see that it's pretty impressive. I'm gonna release this video in a couple of days and see how it goes. There's like maybe some adjustment I can still continue to like working on, but the video is like already 22 minutes. I'm trying to get like each video like under like 20 minutes. So I just wanted to kind of like showing you step by step the process, so you can work, and I would like you to do that. So kind of like out of all the content you've been generating, work on a solid series. And that doesn't have to be like character based. That can be like the concept store. That can be a product. That can be like literally anything in terms of like video editing. But like I would love you to work on like a small series of like 6 or like 8 images, doing all this process. So like post-production, editing, and then animation, and then putting everything into a reel and then sharing it with me. That would be awesome. If you tag me, I might like reshare it as well on the Instagram account. So please do that, create amazing content, and I'm really excited to see what you're able to build with all this new knowledge.